Hello students. In today's session we will discuss about op-amps and its characteristics. So let's start. The first thing is why operational amplifier is known as op-amps or operational amplifier. The reason is this particular IC is capable to perform mathematical operations on analog signals. Now mathematical operations like this IC can add two signals, it can differentiate, integrate, summing up, averaging, different mathematical operations we can perform using this particular IC. So that is why this is known as operational amplifier. Now the second question comes into our mind that why it is so popular. The first point due to which this IC is popular is its analog in nature. Means it can directly integrate or interface with analog signals. So being an IC, this is an analog device which can be connected to analog signals. The second advantage is its versatility. It's very versatile in nature. We can design various circuits using operational amplifier. We can connect operational amplifiers with resistors, capacitors, inductors and even other TTL logic based ICs. So this versatility of this particular IC make it so much popular. Then third thing about this is why this is important in system design. Since we are studying this operational amplifier in its subject, which is a subject known as data acquisition and system design, so this is applicable both the stages, first at data acquisition and secondly also when we are designing a system which needs to be interfaced with sensors and later on with some other display device or recording device. In both the cases operational amplifier performs very important task, and those tasks include signal conditioning, then amplification, conversion of the signal from voltage to frequency, or we can convert like integrate the signal, differentiate the signal, something like this. Second or another reason is this behaves like an interfacing component because it has the property of isolate the two circuits like the previous circuit and the next circuit, and it has very high impedance and high input impedance and low output impedance. So these properties makes the operational amplifier very popular and versatile IC in electronics domain. They were like a potted module. So it's like a pot is there and we have put so many things into a pot. So you can see on the screen that various individual components have been used. Individual components like resistor, and you can see transistors are there, resistors are there. So they have been clubbed together and formed into a module or a case, and then they have been used like an component. So it was not technically an IC at that time because IC is integrated circuit. We will discuss when it becomes a specific IC. So far it is a module where different circuit components were put together. Okay, regarding its evolution, later on two major companies comes into a competition. The one company is Fairchild Semiconductor and the other one is National Semiconductor. So in one company, Mr. Wedler, he develops microwave 702 monolithic IC. Now this is IC, integrated circuit. So monolithic means when we have a single layer of silicon or other semiconductor material wafer where all the components have been designed as an integrated circuit. Okay, so that was the first attempt when they have tried to make an IC of this particular op-amp. So competition was among National Semiconductor and Fairchild Semiconductor. So LM series was supported by National Semiconductor, and the microwave series was known by Fairchild company. But due to its versatility in 741, that is the micro A, which was proposed by the Fairchild company, and this is the famous operational amplifier which was proposed by Dave Flacker in 1968, and it was the most popular version of the operational amplifier so far till date. Due to it has many properties like its dual power supply, so many circuits can be designed around it by connecting additional components around this IC. So that makes it more popular. So let's discuss about pin functionality of the 741 IC. This particular IC is of 8 pins. So whenever we start about reading the pins, so we have to start with the first pin, and please be remember this particular symbol is for where the top of IC is there, first pin. So if this is the symbol for top side of the IC, this dot will gives you the start of the pin. So the first pin is offset null, second pin is inverting input, third is non-inverting, and the fourth one is power pin, fifth pin is again offset null. So we have two different offset null input pins are available at this particular IC. So one is at fifth pin and another one is at pin number 1, offset null. Output is available at pin number 6. Seventh is again power supply. So please note down there are two power supply pins. One is pin number 7 and another is pin number 4. So that is why this is called dual power supply IC. One power supply is termed as a negative power supply and another one is positive power supply. We will discuss later on how to design this power supply or how to connect the power supply in a dual mode. Eighth pin is of no use, so it is not connected in the circuit, but still it is there on the IC. So what is the reason for this? The reason is whenever IC fabrication is being done, the outer side, or what we say the encapsulation part, is fabricated on a similar die where any other 8-pin IC is being manufactured. So to save the cost, no additional die has been made. The same assembly line has been used to encapsulate the monolithic wafer into an 8-pin plastic encapsulation where there are 8 pins, 4 on one side or 4 on the other side. Another advantage of 8 pins is its symmetry and stability of the IC. So these are the pins. Now let me tell you what is the purpose of offset null. Maybe you have studied earlier also. Whenever there is a same input being applied on pin number 2 and pin number 3, okay, or we can say there is zero difference between pin number 1 and pin number 2, then output pin should gives you 0 volt. Okay, that is ideal condition. If you are getting any output when input pin 3 and 2 have the same voltage, or they are short circuit and then given any input, it means there is some offset voltage output is there. So to nullify that output, we have two pins, one is at pin number 1 and another is pin 5. So by applying an additional voltage at this particular pin, we can use one voltage divider circuit. And then we can provide, let me erase this. So if we have one potentiometer like this, or a voltage divider circuit where we have 5 volt, then from here onwards we can connect here, and we can keep one of them as a variable resistor. So we can tune this resistor accordingly when the output become 0 voltage. Which condition I repeat? When pin number 2 and pin number 3 are at same potential, or we say short circuited with each other, connected with each other, output should be 0. If it is not 0, then we connect a similar kind of a circuit at offset voltage pin number 5 or pin number 1 to make the output 0 volt. So that is the purpose of offset null. 7 and 4 are used for power supply. Here we connect usually minus 12 or minus 15 volt, and at pin number 7 we connect plus 12 or plus 15 volt. Okay, so let's move ahead. Okay, now we'll discuss various types of op-amps are available in the market. The most popular or generalized type of op-amp is Micro A741. Again, I have earlier told you that this has been proposed by Fairchild Semiconductor. So this is the most popular one, very generalized one. There is another IC from National Semiconductor with series LM358. It has two operational amplifier in a single IC. So obviously number of pins will be more in this. Power supply pins are similar, 7 and 4. So they will be common to both the op-amps, but their input and output pins are different. Then second type of op-amp is LM311, which is exclusively used for comparator purpose. So we'll discuss in the next few slides what is comparator. Then we have a communication op-amp OA11, single supply op-amp LM324, very popular. Then instrumentation amplifier AD620. So you can see there are many other programmable gain amplifier or high current, high voltage op-amps. So students, we have different op-amps for different applications, and before you start your system design, please read your data sheet very carefully and decide accordingly that what you need as per your input requirements, output requirements, and only then decide which type of op-amp you should use in your system. Now let's start with the equivalent circuit of operational amplifier, and we will discuss its characteristics also. So this is the equivalent circuit. A complete analog circuit has been converted into one voltage representation and one Thevenin resistance, which is known as R out, resistor out. Then we have two input pins, negative pin, positive pin. So whatever the voltage between these two pins, that is known as V in, or sometimes this is also known as VD. So what VD is? Difference voltage between pin number 3 and pin number 2, that is positive and negative pins. Then we can model our gain, like G is the open loop gain. So G multiplied by the input voltage can be represented as G into VIN. So it can be termed as voltage source within this, and this voltage is being given in terms of V out through a resistance which is known as output resistance or R out. Now let's discuss some of the characteristics. Open loop gain is very high, that is G is very high. It may range from 100,000 to 2 into 10 raised to power 6, that is in megas. So its gain is very high, and that gain is, I am repeating, is open loop gain. When there is no feedback, only then gain is very high. So it means when we use a closed loop circuit for this op-amp, gain reduces drastically. We will discuss those circuits also, and we will try to see what is the need of closed loop circuit when we have very high gain with this amplifier. Okay, technically input resistance is very large, this one, also known as input impedance, and sometimes it is represented by ZI, that is input impedance is very high, output resistance or output impedance is very small, just 75 ohm or even smaller in the newer versions of 741 IC. So these are the main characteristics of operational amplifier. Okay, next important thing is input output curve. This is also known as input output behavior of the operational amplifier in open loop. So on the x-axis we have VD, Now VD means I have already told you that the difference between these two voltages, and output is, this one is the output, so V out and VD. So that is what we have plotted here. So as we increase VD, that is differential voltage has been increased slowly, output follows its increment. So you can see the behavior is very linear. As we increase the differential voltage, output increases linearly. But after a particular time, after a particular differential voltage, even if we increase the VD, there is no change in output voltage, and that particular limit is saturation voltage, and this output what we are getting stabilized is equal to VCC. What is VCC? Whatever is here written here, Vs, that is supply voltage, and in transistor terminology we will use this or denote this as the collector voltage. So this is called VCC. So this VCC means power supply on the positive side. This negative VCC means power supply connected to pin number 4. So similarly, if we start moving or V negative start increasing from V positive, then the difference will be on the negative side, so it will move like this side. So in this condition again, after some time, output will become stable or constant, and that will be equal to minus VCC. So if we talk about the amplification, this particular region is amplification region when we get a constant slope between VD and V out. Okay, so whenever op-amp is operate as an amplifier, it should work in this particular range of VD only. So let's do one numerical calculation and see its importance. We know that its gain is 2 into 10 raised to power 6 usually, since this is in open loop condition, so its gain OL, open loop gain, is 2 into 10 raised to power 6. If gain is 2 into 10 raised to power 6, it means V out will be AOL into VD or V in, whatever you want to say, differential voltage. This is the formula. Now we already know this gain, that is 2 into 10 raised to power 6. So if our VD is, let's say, 1 microvolt, in that case the output will be, yes, 2 volt. Okay, but if we increase the VD, let's say it is 5 microvolt, when VD is 5 microvolt, in that case V out will be equal to 10 volt. Very good. Now we know usually we connect this operational amplifier at plus minus 15 volt, that is 7 number pin is plus 15 and 4th number pin is connected to minus 15 volt, or minus VCC is minus 15 and plus VCC is plus 15. So now we are increasing VD. At 1 microvolt we are having 2 volt, having 10 microvolt we have 10 volt. Since we know that the maximum output what we can get is 15 volt, so can you tell me, can you calculate what is the maximum VD, what is the value of VD when we are able to get 15 volt? What is the value of VD when we are able to get output as 15 volt? Let's keep the gain a constant, 2 into 10 raised to power 6. Yes, the VD should be 7.5 microvolt. So see the power of this operational amplifier. Even 7.5 microvolt signal can be converted into 15 volt. But sometime, in fact most of the time, it becomes a problem. Why is the problem? Let's discuss another scenario. If the input voltage is 10 microvolt, theoretically output should be 20 volt, but it is not possible. I've already told you that the maximum output it can gives you is 15 volt. Yes. So if somebody asks you that gain is 2 into 10 raised to power 6 and you have given VD, that is differential voltage of, let's say, 1 millivolt, what is the output? So as per gain and VD formula, the output seems to be, I am saying seems to be, yes, 2000 volt, yes, 2 kilovolt, but it is not possible. The reason is, again, I have already told you that the maximum output what we can draw from the operational amplifier is the VCC, whatever is given to it. If we can design, yes, if we can design an operational amplifier which can operate on, let's say, 2000 volt on plus side and negative 2000 volt on minus VCC, yes, then it is possible to draw such high voltage at the output level. So please keep this thing in your mind that VCC decides what is the maximum voltage we can get after amplification. So I am again coming back to my previous question, that if we are not able to amplify a very small signal of 10 microvolt, why we are not able to amplify? Because output is constant, 15 volt. 10 microvolt output is 15 volt. 15 microvolt, 20 microvolt, 100 microvolt, 200 microvolt, 1 millivolt, whatever value more than this, you will always get 15 volt. So it means we have reached in saturation region. Okay, so we are not in amplification region. So to make this functionality in the practical scenario, when the difference voltage is not very small, sometimes it is millivolt, sometimes it is 100 microvolt, we need to do some modification in the open loop gain, and for that the scientists have proposed that this can be easily used in closed loop mode. So we will discuss later that how we can design or redesign the same IC. When it is in closed loop mode, its gain can be controlled. So closed, that is CL, can be redesigned as per your requirement, and that depends upon the additional circuitry that we connect outside this particular IC, that is R1, RF. We will use different resistors outside this op-amp and we can design our own gain, but that will be definitely closed loop or feedback based operational amplifier. So that's all about input output curve. I hope you have understood its significance, that whenever we have to use in amplification region, that is where this green brackets have been shown, this is amplification region, then the VD should be very small, or we have to control the gain, because we know the maximum voltage what we can withdraw from this operational amplifier is 15 volts. So let's move ahead. These are some of the applications of operational amplifier. The most popular is definitely amplitude, that is amplification. Then we can use them as comparator, oscillators, filters, sensor. It should be sensor modules, because most of the sensors have very low output. So once we try to make those sensors directly compatible to devices or components like Arduino, Raspberry Pi, we use op-amps within the sensor only, and those sensors are called smart sensors. And again, instrumentation amplifier for various measurement applications. This is the internal schematic. Don't worry, we are not going much detail into this circuit analysis, current or voltage measurement of this circuit, but this circuit has been shared with you so that you can understand what is inside the operational amplifier. So there are only discrete components of discrete components like transistors, resistors, capacitors. Okay, so that is why this is called analog IC, because inherently it contains transistors only. And if I tell you for 741 generalized version, there are 20 transistors. Those are being used within this circuit, and it has various stages. The first stage, if I tell you, is differential amplifier. Okay, where pin 1 and pin number 2 and pin number 3 has been compared. Next stage is current mirror, and the final stage is high gain amplifier. Okay, so you can also notice this is pin number 6. If I try to find out where are the pins, so this is output pins. Then other important pins are power supply pins, pin number 7 and 4, negative power supply. Then we have offset null, pin number 1, and similarly there is pin number 5. Yes, here it is. So here it is. You can see that the configuration is very symmetrical but opposite. So that is why we use back-to-back transistor when we are using offset null for 1 and 5. So one offset is being used for positive offsets, and another offset is to nullify the negative offsets. That is, when the input at pin number 2 and 3 is same and output is negative at pin number 6, then we use 5 number pin, and for positive offsets we use pin number 1. So these are the two inputs, pin number 2, pin number 3, non-inverting and inverting pins. So this is the internal schematic. This will help you to understand sometimes that why this is so, why we are saying internal compensation, why the internal behavior is like this. Because okay, the question again comes that if we have same voltage at pin number 2 and pin number 3, why there is difference or there is some output voltage? The reason is in this circuit. We can say, since there are many transistors connected in back-to-back or individual configurations, sometimes, or in fact many times, their internal parameters of these transistors of Q1, parameters of Q2 may not be similar. Okay, so that difference in their parameters give reason to give some offset voltage at pin number 6. Let's discuss some of the features or the properties we expect from an ideal operational amplifier. So we can note down, these are very important. Ideal operational amplifier must have infinite input impedance, zero output impedance. Why this is so? Input impedance should be infinite. What does it mean? It means whenever we connect operational amplifier to a sensor, it should not load the sensor. The reason is its input impedance is very high. It will not suck the current from its previous circuit. That is the meaning of high input impedance. And what is the meaning of zero output impedance? Just reverse to it. If we connect output of op-amp, suppose this is an operational amplifier, if we connect this operational amplifier to another circuit, okay, its output impedance should be very low, because it should not load the next circuit. As we are expecting from this circuit that its previous circuit should not be loaded, so we keep its input impedance is very high. But when we are connecting with the next one, we don't want that this operational amplifier withdraw much current in this loop, so we make Z0 or output impedance very low. Okay, another ideal characteristic is infinite open loop gain. Yes, we expect that gain should be very high. We can amplify signals like microvolts or something like that. Next is bandwidth should be infinite. We can operate at any frequency. That is the meaning of infinite bandwidth. That is, operational amplifier should be able to use from DC, that is 0 Hertz frequency, up to megahertz or even gigahertz. That is the meaning of infinite bandwidth. We will see practically all these things possible or not, but these are ideal characteristics. Then fifth one is zero noise contribution, that is it should not generate any noise. And the last one is zero DC offset output, that we have already told that it should not include any DC component in the signal when we are amplifying any signal. So let's see what are the practical output, practical characteristics of operational amplifier. So practically input impedance is in the range of 500 kilo ohm to 2 mega ohm. It is not infinite. Zero output impedance is definitely some impedance will be there. If we design a circuit, you can decrease it, but you cannot make it zero. If there is some component, it is consuming some current, voltage, it has to have some resistance. Okay, so it could be low, even lower than 20 ohm sometimes. Infinite open loop gain, yes, we can increase the gain up to 2 into 10 raised to power 6 or 5. Bandwidth is limited. Here it is mentioned a few kilohertz, but these days even we have operational amplifiers whose bandwidth is in megahertz. Noise contribution is there, and the last one is we cannot make its offset to a zero level. So practically all the characteristics are not possible, but we always try to design some kind of circuits where we can move towards ideal characteristics. These are the references being used in this presentation. So in the next session we will discuss important parameters that just we have discussed, practical parameters in more detail. So thank you students, thanks for watching this video.